companies go for anywhere between $500,000 to $10 million, right? Or on the higher end. How much would you say is like? What are the requirements? Can a regular person have any chance in the world of buying a company or buying a business?
Definitely. And I mentioned SBA financing. Most banks have like an SBA arm, that helps buyers, with purchasing small businesses. And they have the SBA, you can check them out online. They have all sort of the requirements about, who is eligible, for an SBA loan.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of them is you can't, be worth more than a certain amount of money, net worth.
Mm-hmm.
So it really targets kind of the lower end of the market in terms of helping those people who have a dream to start a business, to buy an existing business, to buy a rental property or something. So the SBA is actually a really good source. And essentially it's like basically putting 10% down, and they finance 90% of it. Okay. So if you were buying, like you were talking about, $100,000 business, let's just say it goes for 3 times. So it's generating $100,000 in cash flow, so it's worth 300. The person had $30,000, and it was a bankable deal. Then the SBA would finance that, the rest of that 270. And I say that's so I want to clarify something here. It's like, that's the purchase price, mm-hmm. right? At the end of the day, you buy the business, you need to be able to operate the business. And to operate a business, you need to have money in the bank, because you're going to have expenses coming in. Because when you start day one, you're usually not,
making money.
The cash isn't coming in like at the beginning of the month. It usually comes in towards the end of the month. And so having working capital is also a key component of that, which an SBA will take into account as well. But if you're not using SBA financing, and you're using a promissory note from a seller to help buy the business, which does happen as well. So if somebody can't get bank financing for a deal, they go to the seller, hey, will you help me finance this deal? Seller says yes. You're still going to need working capital to run the business.
Got it.
Yep.
So if a company is going for $300,000, you need to have 10%, which is $30,000. But you also need to have working capital, depending on the company, to be able to operate the company until it starts to make money or something like that.
Yeah, until it starts to pay the bills, and you start making a profit at the end of every month or every period, and then you can start putting that money away to accumulate as you grow the business, to make sure you're able to stay ahead of the game in terms of as you grow. Get out over your skis and basically run out of money as you grow. And I think also buying a business, one of the things to think about is you don't want to you want to be careful with your assumptions. So when you're looking at the business, obviously as a broker, we're presenting what the business has done, right? So that's what the seller is going to get paid for, what the business has done, not what it will do, because that's what you're going to do. So the whole, what the future holds is something that a buyer would never have to pay for, but a seller needs to, I guess, understand with his assumptions or their assumptions, what the what the seller has done, and then be conservative in terms of that transition piece where you take over the business and then you basically start to grow the business.
Now, when you said about the assumptions, you spoke about, hey, this is what the company has done versus what the company is going to do in the future, right?
Yeah.
But when you're evaluating a company, if a company is generating 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, millions of dollars, why would a buyer want to sell it?
Why do they want to sell? What motivates a buyer?
Like, hey, it's a good business and you're not doing much. Why not just?
For every reason under the sun. I mean, honestly, it's like I look at why I sold my business, and it had to do with, I'd run it for 12 years. I was at a point where I was thinking, I'd like to try something different. Also had some family issues that were going on. And I thought, what, it'd be great if I could sell the business so I can focus on that, get those in order, and then, so it's like, people are, presented with, all different kinds of situations in life out of nowhere, and obviously the most obvious or most, one that makes the most sense is just retirement. Somebody reaches that age where they want to sell the business, and they've worked on it their whole life and they like to try to, get something for it. So retirement is obviously a very big one. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Let's say if for Dairy Queen, for example.
Yeah.
I want to know if this Dairy Queen is for sale. You just walk into the store and say, hey, who owns this place? What's the process for that? Do you have a broker for that, or you just...
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're looking to buy in a specific industry, engaging a broker is like probably the first step that you want to do. Just, I think one of the statistics we throw around is like 70% of the buyers that come to us, they're looking at, they've inquired about a business, and so that's put us in contact with them. And then we start having a conversation with them, trying to understand what their buyer profile looks like, how much money they have willing to invest, kind of what their strengths and weaknesses are, just in terms of their work history. Mm-hmm. And from there we're able to, I guess, steer them maybe in a different direction, because most of them, you look at a business as typically, you've never bought a business before, typically you're not going to end up buying maybe that business. Mm. So engaging a broker is a great way to sort of, get an understanding of what the lay of the land's like. I mean, a broker is going to, obviously they're cautious about their time because, they eat what they kill, basically. Mm-hmm. And so, they're always interested in talking to, buyers who are motivated. Because somebody who's motivated, they know kind of what their strengths and weaknesses are. They know like how much money they have to invest, how much money they want to make, so maybe what industries they are, targeting. Somebody who has more of their act together. Those are the things that a broker can really help with a buyer in terms of identifying good opportunities.